Well, there are also discussions within the aviation sector regarding the designation of certain airlines as flag carriers. Let's cross live to our Lagos studios and speak to Captain Sanusi, who is the Managing Director of Aero Contractors. Thank you so much, sir, for being on the news tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Great. Let me begin by asking you, what is your reaction to this development? The federal government hinting that we might have a new national carrier once more?
Well, it's deja vu, as I will say it, because last administration spent 8 years telling Nigerians that there will be a national carrier before the end of the administration. And we saw the failure of the last administration regarding the takeoff of the national carrier. But we have to understand, first, there is a flag carrier, and then there's a national carrier. I said it several times, we had a chance to have a national carrier because the federal government through AMCON had shares in some of the airlines they took over, Aero Contractors, for instance. They had 60% shares in Aero Contractors and substantial interest in Arik Air. And still, the last administration went ahead to form another company where Nigerian government will have 5% of the stake, and then they called it the national carrier. Of course, that was started up in a shaky grounds, and of course, I said it, I predicted that it would not fly, and it did not fly. Now, the yarns for national carrier has been on for decades, I will say. But do we really need a national carrier? Or is flag carrier that we need? I think those are the questions that we need to ask ourselves as Nigerians. If we needed a national carrier, then why in the first instance did we liquidate Nigerian Airways in the first instance? And then what is the world trend? What is happening to the world trend? There are so many issues regarding national carrier. National carrier, that means the state, the country, must have a stake, financial stake in the company. That means, do we have enough funds to put aside to start up a new airline? And how much do we have to put in, and how much does the private sector needs to put in to start a national carrier? Or do we look at the domestic carriers that we have that have the capacity and designate them, first create a kind of criteria for you to say, okay, if you can reach this, then we will give you the status of a flag carrier. This will actually help the domestic carriers, and probably it might even open up what we have not seen in the aviation industry in Nigeria, mergers and acquisitions, so that they can be bigger and then be flag carriers. But the notion of having a national carrier, I think we should move away from that, because we don't have the funds. We have a struggling economy, and then we want to put $500 million to $1 billion to start a national carrier, where we will use that money for maybe PDPs, that's pre-delivery payments to new companies? Or are we going to start a national carrier with used aircrafts? I mean, those are the things I believe the administration should look at, and then make a decision and move on. The trend in the world is not to start a national carrier, rather than to strengthen and make policies that will make investors be attracted. Usually investors will gravitate towards where the policies are conducive for them to have good ROI, return for their investment.
So you're of the opinion, because some people have been arguing that, look, the realities of global aviation industry is it's brutally competitive. And some say, look, Nigeria should focus on strengthening existing private airlines that we have, rather than going back to launch a sort of a government-backed carrier.
Yeah, of course, the competition is fierce. I mean, you have legacy carriers that have been operating in the globe for over 70, 80, 100 years, and you want to start operating a carrier now, and of course, we would like to see the carrier flying international, intercontinental routes, but that is very difficult in this day and age. You are going to be competing with the likes of British Airways, KLM, Lufthansa, and Emirates, and some of the Middle Eastern airlines that are, I mean, well rooted and have a lot of money and they have a lot of reach globally. And then you want to start a national carrier to compete with this legacy carriers? That would be very difficult. And also, what is the essence of starting the new carrier, the new national carrier? Are you trying to create jobs, or do you want to have better reach for Nigerians? Or do you want to say that you want to bring the prices down for tickets? Aviation is a global industry. I mean, the tickets prices are dictated by the global demand.
Well,
so
Sanusi,
I don't think
you have raised more questions than answers, and I think it's the reality for a lot of Nigerians. Anytime we have this conversation about the aviation sector, the national carrier controversy. But as a member, I believe you are a member of the AON, the Airline Operators of Nigeria. Your initial stance against the Nigeria Air project was that it wasn't fair, there was no equity, there was no transparency, and I believe that case ended up in the courts. I don't know what level it is at the moment, but I do know there are legal challenges around it. So I'm going to ask you, I mean, what do you think will be different? It does look like the government has a reason to want to do this, as was hinted by the permanent secretary, even though he's trying to backtrack now. What do you think will be different? And if I can ask you, look into that, your crystal ball, because you had predicted Nigeria Air was going to fail. If you could look into your crystal ball, do you think this attempt will also fail? And where does the AON stand with this new announcement that has been backtracked to?
Well, I'm not a spokesperson for AON, but I can tell you for a fact that I don't think the federal government will continue with the project of Nigeria Air the way it was conceived, because you can't continue to build on a foundation that is not stable. So I don't think they will continue. I think it would be disastrous for them to continue on that route. And if federal government is thinking of starting a national carrier, I think if they are still thinking the way they thought, then it's going to fail. I still have doubt if the government have the capacity to start a carrier and run it and let it be sustainable. I don't think they have that. And it is evident with Nigerian Airways. It will be just a conduit for money being spent and nothing will happen to it. And this is, I don't even have to look at crystal ball. This is clear. This is empirically proven. It cannot. So I don't see any reason why we should keep doing the same thing and expect different results. If we want to have a national carrier and the federal government have bodies that do have, like AMCON has access to a lot of aviation assets, why don't they look at those and start something small and then let it organically grow? But I know that Nigerians are yearning for national carrier that can fly tomorrow to London, to New York, to Canada, to everywhere. It's not possible. It's not possible. Even if we say we're going to start today, the first airplane that might arrive here, if we're going to buy brand new airplanes, will probably be in 2027 or 2028, if we're lucky. So we have to understand the aviation industry. It's not like you go into a showroom and say, I want this aircraft, by the way, put this seat, put that seat. It's not like that. It's planning. And I believe that we always throw this national carrier debate to distract us from the key challenge of the aviation industry in this country. The key challenges have been left behind, and we're talking about a national carrier. Why have Nigerian airlines been failing? Why can't we look at the reasons and address those reasons and make sure we have formidable domestic carriers? Why are we always throwing that carrot for debate of national carrier, while to even fly from Lagos to Abuja is going to be an issue for us if we continue the way we are doing?
And Captain Sanusi, I'm glad you bring that up.
A decent
we're almost out of time. I know you have a lot to say, but let's make this conversation now. You talk about the challenges in the sector, and you are an operator in the sector. Tell us, from your perspective, what are the challenges? And I'm so glad you brought up the flying to Lagos being a challenge. I mean, a couple of weeks, it was almost ₦500,000 naira to fly from Lagos to Abuja or back. Why is it so expensive? What are the challenges that you're facing?
These challenges are known. I mean, first and foremost, the environment the airlines operate in is quite challenging. It's quite a hostile environment. We have multiple taxation. Let me give you an instance. Every ticket we sell, we give 5% to the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority for safety oversight. But still, when there is a safety oversight, when they are going to go and inspect a simulator facility, or they're going to inspect an airplane that is coming out of checks, we will still have to pay for the tickets, the per diem, and every other expenses those inspectors will pay. These are multiple taxations. And then if you look at NAMA, there are charges to NAMA put on airlines. Fine, there are charges you put there. There's also charge. There's so many things, so many charges, so many taxes. And my recommendation is unify these charges, reduce them, so that you can reduce the cost for running an airline in the country. Give the airlines some incentives. Give the airlines some access to soft loans that have single-digit interest rate, so that the Cape Town Convention that was celebrated, we can harness, or we can take the dividends of the Cape Town Convention. But you can't go and start borrowing at 30 to 40% interest rate to go and bring an airplane and believe that you can sell a ticket below 80,000 naira or at 80,000 naira and think you will make money. It's not possible. So the challenges are there. The infrastructure deficit, the multiple taxation, the over-regulation. These are all things that have been looked at, and we have told the government that there must be a genuine reform in the aviation industry, and not start talking about national carrier. If you talk about national carrier, they will come and still operate in the same environment that we're operating, that the airlines have been failing since the 70s. They've been failing. If I start counting the airlines that have failed. Yes.
Before we let you go, I just wanted to get your thoughts on another development, talking about President Bola Tinubu dividing the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology into 6 campuses to cover the geopolitical areas in Nigeria. Just your thoughts on that.
Well, luckily I'm an alumni of Nigerian College of Aviation Technology. I don't think it's a good idea Nigerian College of Technology is over 60 years in existence. I think it's can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, we can hear
Okay, Nigerian College of Aviation Technology is over 60 years. And I don't think by putting it into the 6 geopolitical regions in the country, it will expand it. I think you should look at the money that you're going to spend to open these campuses to put it into Nigerian College of Aviation Technology. After all, they have not reached their full potential. It's like saying that you want to take Harvard in the United States and divide it into states and put it in all over the place. I see no reason why we should do that. I mean, it's not that the campus is filled up and there's a capacity is not there. We have not even reached the capacity. And the institution is supposed to be a degree awarding institution. And yet it is not after 60 years in existence. And we are still going to break it into 6 geopolitical regions. Why? Why do we need to do that? I mean, it's bad enough that it's not being looked into.
Thank you so much. Captain Aero Sanusi is the Managing Director of Airline Aero Contractors. Many questions left unanswered. We do appreciate your time on Newsnight tonight. Thank you.